I'm going to paint this picture in Procreate 4. Hi everyone, Steve Elliott here again. Today I'm going to be painting in my style. Now, if you've been following me, you'll know that I've been painting in the style of, I've done 10 different artists so far. But today I thought I would paint for me in my own style. So I begin by getting on a grey colour over the whole of the canvas, just so I can judge tones better. And then I import a picture that I sketched in Paper by 53. I'll put a link to that video somewhere for you to find. And I kind of position that to get the composition I want. I knock the opacity right back, so it's just sort of a greyed out image, and then I adjust it a little bit further, and that's going to save me having to untie all of those shapes. So then I create another layer. This isn't a massive painting, it's 14 inch by 63 for 24 inches by 16 inches by 300 dpi. So I have painted considerably bigger than that, but this means I can have quite a few layers. So as I say, I've got one layer with the ground colour on, one layer with the opacity knocked back on the sketch, and then I start painting. And I'm using the palette that I created for the Renoir painting. So I've now got a collection of palettes in my Procreate of all the different artists that I've produced work on or done paintings of over the past few weeks. So that's really cool because I can dip into those now and use them. And it will be interesting to see how painting and studying these other styles has affected my painting. Well, straight away, I wanted a very loose painting. I don't want this to be a tight one. I wanted to just get the colours on really quick with bold, quick brush strokes. So the brush I chose for this was the Turpentine brush, and I pretty much paint, I would say 80% of the painting with a Turpentine brush, and I use the oil brush on odd occasions, but mostly there's a nice looking smiley face, look, very cartoon-like. So I'm not feeling the face right now, and I keep working at it a little bit, but I do wonder if I need faces in this painting at all. But I continue with it for a little bit, and I'm just sort of getting in the rest of the figure, painting in his torches, get some flames in there, and I have got the figure on a separate layer until I'm absolutely certain that he is where I want him to be, and then I start painting, working on the background again. By the way, this was this photo I took in York on a recent visit, and this guy is called the York Fire Eater, not Heater, Eater, and you can find him on Facebook. He's got his own page on there, and I had a chat with him and said, do you mind if I paint this picture? He was cool about it. So yeah, he does his stint, and in the rain, I mean, it was raining quite heavily that day. You can see that the floor's wet. I thought he was very brave getting on that bike, monoped or whatever they're called, and braved the elements, and he was very entertaining, and he had a whip round at the end of his show. So apparently he's been doing this for 2 years full time now, so good luck to him. You know, us entertainers, and I say entertainers not from my painting thing, but from the fact that I'm in a band as well. You know, we're going to sort of support each other. So this painting, if you've seen the video for the Paper 53 sketch, I did sketch this out because the photograph, the original photo, was really cluttered with a lot of detail that I wanted to strip out. So I did this sketch initially just to give me an idea of where we're at. And you can see now I'm sort of resizing the background because I wasn't totally happy with the sketch. It was only a rough sketch to give me an idea of where things were going to go and what I could leave out, and I do tweak that a little bit, and people will not be in the same place on the painting as they are in the photo, and that is intentional. I did that deliberate for the sake of composition, and I'm really loving this sort of loose style. And for quite a long while in the painting, I'm wondering how much detail I should put in or how loose I should keep it. So it is a painting that's evolved. I didn't have an 100% idea of what it would look like. Quite often when I paint a picture, I can see in my head exactly what the finished painting is going to look like before I even start it. But this one, I've got an idea, but I didn't know how much detail I was going to put in there, and what I was going to leave out, and what I was going to do with the tree. So, I mean, to me, that it almost looks like a finished painting there. You know, it doesn't need, those figures are, they're finished as far as I'm concerned. They could quite easily work like that. The only issue I have, I guess, is that I've got the guy's face painted, and to have just one face painted and all the others not looks a bit odd, although he is clearly the focus of the painting and the where the attention's at. So I'm whipping in a very loose tree there again. That is on a different layer. I'm starting to keep elements on different layers now. I'm finding it easier to move things around. And then when I'm totally happy with them, with this style of painting, I do like to merge the layer down and then sort of use a smudge brush just to soften the edges off so it doesn't look like it's painted on top. I like it to sort of blend in with the background and look as though it's all been painted as an whole. And I don't know if I'll get in close enough for you to see that. But again, I'm sort of working on the background, and you'll notice I'm using a lot of colours on the ground and on the walls of the buildings, and I think that is definitely an influence of the Renoir I did. I really like that, and I said at the time that I would be incorporating that into my style, and I think that is what I'm done here. I'm absolutely sure of that. So I think well worthwhile doing this painting in the style of series, and I think everybody should have a go at it just to try and improve their own art, because I didn't realise how much you can get out of copying or studying somebody else's work. And I think I've learnt a lot from that. Now if you look at this painting now, I'm sort of putting in some dark colours. Again, that was an influence of Renoir. He had sort of dark areas, really dark colour in there. And I've sort of introduced that into this, and I think that makes the whole thing pop. Notice I've taken out the face of the fire eating out. That's gone. And I think that is a finished painting there. That could be concluded as a piece. But I wanted to work it a bit longer. I kind of wish I'd exported it at that stage so I could have that as a finished painting. I'd like to know your thoughts on that, what you think, if you think that would be considered a finished painting, or if I did right to keep going. I think I did right. I don't dislike the finished piece. I totally think that I was right to keep going. But I wish I'd have kept this as well, because there's something very fresh and loose and quick about this, which I really like. I'm not so sure if I went over the top a little bit with that window, with that bright red. I do sort of soften that off with some green in it in a little while. I thought it was just too much, but maybe it does sort of act as a nice backdrop to the fire eater. You see, I'm sort of getting those darks in, and I can see now why I kept working at it, because it does look, it's looking more like a finished painting, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, I'm very happy at it with it. And look at the brush strokes in there, how loose they are, and they just sort of hit and miss. I'm really pleased with how that's come about, and that's all with the turpentine brush. I think now I'm using the oil brush just to get this detail in. And I did, in the end, decide that I wanted it to look as much like the fire eater as I could get it. So I spent a lot of time on this, just sort of getting his face in just how I wanted it. And then when I zoom out, I think, oh no, now I've got this really detailed face and it doesn't match with anything else in the painting. It looks way too completed compared to the rest. So I make an artistic decision, and I actually, in a minute or two, you'll see that I paint over the face. So all the work that I put into it, getting it like that, I paint it out. There you go. Not all of it. I leave some of it, and just so it's still, I still think it is him. It still looks like him, but I've taken out much of the detail that I've put in there. And then I decide that I can't have just one person with a face in the painting. I need a couple more. But I don't go in and put this same amount of detail in these characters. I just keep them really, really, really loose. And I just put in the detail on the two characters most forward in the painting. And I go in with a bit more detail in the bags. And I'm using my Renoir palette to add colour and interest into that. And you know, I really like that looseness and sort of stylized brushwork. To me, it's a person, but it's just, it could also be a random shape. And I'm actually going in now and tidying them up and making them look more like finished characters, I suppose. Put in, and really what I'm doing, I'm just painting shadow. So I'm sort of adding form to these shapes that are people. This painting actually didn't take me very long. I would say all in all, I spent 2.5, 3 hours start to finish on it. So I was really pleased with it. It just came together so well. And I think I'll be doing a lot more like this. This is definitely my style. This is what I am comfiest in, and this is what I consider to be how I paint. And it's interesting that my oil painting like this is now leaning much towards the same style that I paint in watercolors, which I've been doing the watercolors like this for years and years. And the oil painting was always a bit more restrained and refined, and now it's becoming much more loose, which I'm very happy with, because it means I can paint a lot faster and do a lot more and not get bogged down, because I like to do paintings in one sitting if I can, which I did here. So that is pretty much it. I'm just sort of putting the final details in on this lady's legs. Again, it's all about the shadows, give an indication of the feet and the fact that she's wearing boots, and that is it. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, first painting in my style for a while. If you have, please give me a thumbs up. It's much appreciated, helps me out a lot. And if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. I have lots of videos like this and I would love to be sharing them with you. So hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Bye.